Support for Bahraini Shiite militants, 2011 to present. In the simmering sectarian divide of the Persian Gulf, where the struggle for power between Sunni monarchies and Shia communities has defined the region's political landscape, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, embarked on a covert and calculated mission to destabilize Bahrain and expand Tehran's influence. Since 2011, the IRGC has provided extensive support to Bahraini Shiite militants, supplying them with weapons, training, and financial assistance to fuel an insurgency against the Sunni monarchy of Bahrain. For the IRGC, this campaign was not merely about fomenting unrest. It was a strategic move aimed at challenging Saudi and U.S. dominance in the Gulf, establishing a foothold in Bahrain, and projecting Iranian power along the critical maritime choke point of the Persian Gulf. The origins of Iran's intervention in Bahrain can be traced back to the Arab Spring of 2011, when a wave of pro-democracy uprisings swept across the Middle East, shaking authoritarian regimes to their core. In Bahrain, the Arab Spring took on a distinctly sectarian character, as the country's marginalized Shia majority, long oppressed by the Sunni ruling family, rose up to demand political reforms and an end to systemic discrimination. The protests, centered in Pearl Roundabout in Manama, quickly gained momentum, with thousands of Shia demonstrators calling for greater political representation and equality. The Bahraini monarchy, alarmed by the growing unrest and fearful that the protests could spiral into a full-blown revolution, responded with a brutal crackdown. Security forces used tear gas, rubber bullets, and live ammunition to disperse protesters, while the Bahraini government declared a state of emergency and invited Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates to intervene militarily to suppress the uprising. The deployment of Saudi and Emirati troops under the umbrella of the Gulf Cooperation Council, GCC, crushed the protests, but the seeds of resistance had already been sown. For Iran, the uprising in Bahrain presented a unique opportunity to extend its influence in the Gulf and challenge Saudi hegemony. Bahrain, a Shia-majority nation ruled by a Sunni monarchy, was viewed by Tehran as a natural ally that could be transformed into a strategic outpost for Iranian influence. The IRGC saw the unrest as an opportunity to foment dissent, weaken the Bahraini monarchy, and establish a loyal network of Shia militants who could serve as a proxy force to advance Iran's regional ambitions. The IRGC wasted no time in capitalizing on the situation. By 2012, Iranian operatives had begun recruiting and training Bahraini Shia militants, providing them with weapons, explosives, and specialized military training in Iran, Iraq, and Lebanon. The Quds Force, the IRGC's elite external operations unit, played a central role in overseeing the recruitment and training of Bahraini fighters, ensuring that they were well prepared to wage an insurgency against the Bahraini regime. The IRGC's strategy for Bahrain was multifaceted. On one hand, Iranian operatives cultivated ties with al-Assad brigades, AAB, and other Bahraini militant groups that had emerged in the wake of the 2011 uprising. The al-Assad brigades, a militant group dedicated to overthrowing the Bahraini monarchy and establishing a Shia-led government, became Iran's primary proxy force in Bahrain. Through the IRGC's support, the group evolved from a grassroots resistance movement into a sophisticated insurgent force capable of carrying out deadly attacks against Bahraini security forces. On the other hand, the IRGC provided logistical support and funding to a network of Bahraini Shia opposition figures who operated both within Bahrain and in exile. These figures served as conduits for Iranian influence, spreading Tehran's revolutionary ideology and coordinating with militant groups on the ground. Iranian media outlets, including Press TV and Al-Alam, amplified the voices of Bahraini Shia activists and portrayed the Bahraini monarchy as a puppet of Saudi Arabia and the United States. The IRGC's support for Bahraini militants extended beyond training and funding. It also included the transfer of sophisticated weaponry and explosives technology. Iranian operatives smuggled advanced weapons, including explosively formed penetrators, EFPs, small arms, and improvised explosive devices, IEDs, into Bahrain through covert maritime routes. These weapons were used by Bahraini militants to target security forces, government installations, and oil pipelines, creating an atmosphere of chaos and instability in the kingdom. One of the most significant incidents linked to Iranian support occurred in 2017, when Bahraini authorities uncovered a massive weapons cache that included Iranian-made explosives, firearms, and bomb-making materials. The discovery confirmed Western and Bahraini suspicions that Iran was actively arming Shia militants to destabilize Bahrain and undermine the Sunni monarchy. Subsequent investigations revealed that Bahraini militants had been trained in IRGC camps in Iran and Iraq, where they had received advanced instruction in guerrilla warfare and explosives manufacturing. The IRGC's support for Bahraini militants was not limited to direct military assistance. Tehran also provided financial support to Shia communities in Bahrain through religious charities and humanitarian organizations, using these channels to fund militant activities and build loyalty to Iran. The IRGC's objective was clear: to cultivate a loyal network of Shia militants and activists who could be mobilized to challenge the Bahraini monarchy and advance Iran's strategic objectives in the Gulf. The IRGC's campaign in Bahrain was not without consequences. The Bahraini government, backed by Saudi Arabia and the United States, responded with a harsh crackdown on Shia dissent, jailing opposition leaders, revoking the citizenship of activists, and dismantling Shia political organizations. Bahrain's security forces intensified their efforts to root out Iranian influence, launching counter-terrorism operations to dismantle IRGC-backed cells and intercept weapons shipments. In 2018, the United States designated the al-Ashtar Brigades as a foreign terrorist organization, FTO, citing the group's ties to the IRGC and its involvement in attacks against Bahraini security forces. The U.S. Treasury Department also imposed sanctions on Iranian operatives involved in supporting Bahraini militants, underscoring Washington's determination to counter Iran's destabilizing activities in the region. Despite these setbacks, the IRGC's influence in Bahrain has not been entirely extinguished. While the Bahraini monarchy has managed to maintain control, Iran's covert support for Shia militants has kept the embers of resistance burning. The IRGC continues to cultivate ties with Bahraini opposition figures and militants, maintaining a covert presence in the kingdom and waiting for an opportunity to reignite the flames of rebellion. For the IRGC, Bahrain remains a key battleground in its broader strategy to project power in the Persian Gulf and challenge Saudi and U.S. dominance in the region. By supporting Bahraini militants, the IRGC has created a latent threat that can be activated at a moment's notice, giving Iran leverage over Bahrain and its Gulf neighbors. The IRGC's long-term vision for Bahrain is not just about overthrowing the monarchy. It is about establishing a permanent Iranian foothold in the heart of the Gulf, one that could be used to threaten Saudi Arabia, disrupt maritime traffic in the Strait of Hormuz, and undermine U.S. influence in the region. As the geopolitical rivalry between Iran and Saudi Arabia continues to intensify, the IRGC's support for Bahraini militants remains a potent tool in Tehran's arsenal. The shadow war in Bahrain is far from over, and as long as Iran seeks to reshape the balance of power in the Gulf, the threat of Iranian-backed insurgency in Bahrain will continue to loom large over the region. For the IRGC, Bahrain is not just a battlefield. It is a symbol of Iran's unwavering determination to extend its influence and reshape the political order of the Persian Gulf on its own terms.